night on the South today. A plane built by Otago Polytech students makes its maiden flight in a bittersweet moment for some. A Cromwell school is opening up a museum after 2 terms of researching and building displays. And some Cantabrian locals are encouraging their New Brighton neighbours to clean their act up at home. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Hannah Wilkins. A group of Otago Polytech students inherited a challenging project which they've now seen take flight. Collections of students have been building a small plane since 2018, with the aircraft finally ready for testing.
Seeing the fruits of their labour taking flight. Otago Polytech students, past and present, were on hand to see the Vans RV-12 aeroplane they helped construct take to the air above the Taieri Aerodrome.
Very emotional today. We've watched this plane from when Stuart unveiled it when it first arrived. We've been following it for all these years and it's just lovely to see it up in the air.
However, one key figure was missing. The project was the brainchild of the Polytech's former engineering lecturer and pilot, the late Stuart Allen, who had a vision to provide a challenging and engaging means by which students could learn high-level engineering skills. Stuart Allen passed away in 2018 as the project was coming together. His widow Janice and their son Justin were among those watching the small handmade aircraft go through the first stages of flight testing. The pair thankful to be invited.
Lovely to see it fly.
Just a big thanks to the Aero Club and the Polytech for putting this all together.
Yeah.
Allowing us to be here today. It means a lot.
Otago Aero Club flight instructor Colin Chalmers took the plane on its maiden flight. However, the plane had already been through rigorous ground-based testing with the Civil Aviation Authority. After touching down following the maiden flight, Colin Chalmers said the plane was awesome and flew beautifully. In Dunedin, the South today.
A Christchurch firm has been selected as preferred contractor to build the outpatient building of Dunedin's new hospital. South Base Construction is being suggested as the contractor of the 5-storey building. The construction will be the first of 2 major buildings on the nearly $1.5 billion hospital campus. South Base already has a substantial workforce in Dunedin. It's working on building a new residential hall in Albany Street for the University of Otago. The hospital outpatient building is intended to be open within the next 3 years. Cromwell's Goldfields Primary School has been hard at work, creating a museum showcasing 2 terms of learning around the Great Pacific Migration. The displays were all created by the pupils and feature a range of dioramas and 3D mapping.
Cromwell's youth creating their own museum of history. Te Whare Taonga o Hiwa Itaraki is a museum created by the pupils at Cromwell's Goldfields Primary School. The principal, or Tumuaki Anna Harrison, says the exhibition covers 2 terms of learning about how Māori came to Aotearoa.
We've been looking at the Great Pacific Migration and how people first came to Aotearoa, New Zealand, and the journey that they took. Staff
and pupils used the Mātauranga website, created by Sir Ian Taylor's Animation Research, to aid their journey of discovery. The youngsters used a range of methods to create their exhibits, from old-fashioned paper mache through to programming robots.
The children have learned a lot of stuff about how people navigated, how people knew that there was definitely land here, and what we decided we wanted to do was to display our learning and share it with our community by opening a museum.
10-year-old Bella Cornish is among the pupils who put the mahi into the exhibition and was excited to create what's called a makey-makey.
So this is makey-makeys. So you can see these little bits, these little like metal clips that connect to the tinfoil. Then there's one that goes onto the big bit of tinfoil, and when you press your hand down on this and you touch that, the computer would usually play a piece of information about that part of the waka.
The Kids Museum is open to the Cromwell public at Goldfields School at various times over the next week. In Cromwell, the South today.
A Christchurch kindergarten is closed today after a vehicle went through the front fence overnight. The metal fence and front gate of the Kids First kindergarten on Bridge Street in South Dunedin has been severely damaged after a car crashed into it last night. Given the timing of the collision, no children were at the kindy when it happened. Management closed the facility today due to the damage to the fence and gate. The sign behind the fence reads, "The kindergarten is closed today due to our damaged fence," with staff apologising for any inconvenience this may cause. Some landowners in the Christchurch suburb of New Brighton are being asked to clean up their buildings and properties or face the wrath of locals. Frustrated residents are sick of the eyesores further delaying the regeneration of their seaside suburb.
Crater-sized potholes, vandalism and rundown buildings in New Brighton Mall are just some of the problems residents in the seaside Christchurch suburb want fixed. Land bankers are being warned to either play ball or get out, as derelict buildings continue to sit vacant.
This has gone on for years and years and years. Some of the stuff actually predates the earthquake and nothing has happened. The buildings continue to deteriorate.
Donovan believes some landowners are just sitting on their properties doing no maintenance, while waiting to sell them off for a good price. He says a push to increase rates for vacant land and buildings in the east, similar to that introduced recently for the central city, would be a good start. Residents have been complaining for years about dangerously large potholes in car parks and debris flying off roofs of vacant buildings.
Material from the building came down and missed, very narrowly missed I might add, some people that were standing at the ATM.
New Brighton shop owner Nikki Griffin wants the City Council to step in and buy the large privately owned car park and fix the potholes.
There's been lots of people that have fallen over in time, and especially the elderly ladies and gentlemen, and they do take quite a bit of a fall, and sometimes they wait quite a long time for an ambulance to arrive.
Donovan admits there are pockets of shops in New Brighton that are doing well, but points the finger at a handful of landlords he believes are further delaying the area's regeneration. He believes the future of New Brighton depends on them lifting their game. In Christchurch, The South Today.
FA Yakane still to come on The South Today. School kids down south are learning what it takes to sling a broken arm or save a life. And a mullet-growing kid from Ashburton is cutting off his mop to raise cash for charity.
Brace yourself for a cold snap and get down to My Mate John's for his snap sale. Only at John's Furniture Warehouse, Stafford Street, and online at mymatejohn.co.nz.
And My Mate John.
Come on, mate. The blue doesn't go with the brown.
Every day the team at Gillian supports grieving families at their time of need. From answering your questions to organising a farewell that reflects the wishes of your loved one, we can help. Call Gillian's today. If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Tēnā koe, welcome back. More than 100 Gore school pupils have been acquiring extra skills for dealing with emergencies. The youngsters had 10-minute classes covering everything from an introduction to CPR to what to do when an earthquake hits.
Learning valuable skills in case they're ever in potentially injurious situations such as an earthquake or a car crash. About 140 pupils took part in the Clued Up Kids Day recently in Gore. Local Police Senior Sergeant Cynthia Fairley says the event reinforces safety messages for children.
We're running our kids through short interactive sessions about safety messages that they can learn or embed some of those messages or take home for their whānau or their younger siblings.
The youngsters spent 10 minutes at 8 different stations running through a variety of safety messages and emergency procedures. A wide range of emergency services were involved in the event, with the Hokonui St John staff giving lessons in CPR and Fire and Emergency New Zealand providing a tunnel maze.
We've been really fortunate to have Hokonui Huanui, Road Safety Southland, Landsar, the police, FENS, Emergency Management in St John's and our head injury partners as well.
Pupils were also given an information pack to take home to back up the day's lessons. In Gore, the South Today.
A Year 6 pupil from Lauriston School in Ashburton has raised $1,500 for Children's Starship Hospital. Charlie Quinlan had been growing a mullet since the first lockdown in 2020 and he finally had it cut off as part of a school fundraiser.
Getting plenty of encouragement from the whole of Lauriston School in Ashburton. Year 6 pupil Charlie Quinlan finally has his 20-centimetre long mullet cut off for charity. He's been growing his hair down the back since the first lockdown in 2020, and this recent haircut has raised $1,500 for Starship Children's Hospital. Charlie says he doesn't mind too much losing his long locks of hair, with a change to his morning regime before school being on the cards.
Are you going to miss it, Charlie?
Yes and no.
You say no?
I don't think he's going to miss Mum. Have you brushed your hair? Have you washed your hair? Yeah, not going to miss that stage of it. So.
Losing his mullet for charity is a logical step up from last year when Charlie raised money for Make-A-Wish Foundation through baking. And his teacher Wendy Atkinson says helping others is what she's come to expect of the young man.
Charlie is a really natural leader and he has got quite a few leadership responsibilities, so he runs things well. He's a bus monitor and likes to get involved.
A sausage sizzle and mufti day raised an additional $450 for Charlie's Starship donation. In Ashburton, the South Today.
And now, recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. An aircraft built by Otago Polytech students survived its maiden flight after more than 4 years of hard mahi. Cromwell's Goldfields Primary School is opening up a museum after 2 terms of researching and building displays. And up in Christchurch, some New Brighton locals are encouraging their neighbours to clean up abandoned properties. And now a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, and we welcome the Associate Editor, Jo Simpson. Kia ora, Jo.
Hi.
What can we expect in your paper tomorrow?
The Dunedin City Council says the Otago Regional Council's consultant seriously overstepped her qualifications and experience when recommending commissioners reject the proposal for a landfill at Smooth Hill.
Wow, okay. Look forward to reading that. Yeah.
There has been silence from Wellington about the Three Waters reform, and local councils are getting shredded. At the Water Services Entities Bills hearing, Clutha Mayor Brian Cadogan says this is a central government's baby and we're sick of changing the nappies.
Gosh, you're hitting hard today. Nice. What else have you got, Jo?
A grieving father has suffered a double blow in his bid for justice for his daughter. IPCA said the police investigation was adequate and Dunedin City Council has rejected his $150,000 compensation claim.
Wow, yeah.
And 4 Queenstown men take an icy dip in water, take a dip in icy water every day for health reasons for 230 days in a row.
Wow, that's commitment. All right, we look forward to reading all those in tomorrow's paper. Thank you, Jo. And time now for a look at the weather.
The South Today weather, proudly brought to you by MoleMap, the skin cancer detection specialists.
Looking at the situation, well, some rain about Otago tomorrow, but remaining fine in Southland. Fine weather for all on Friday and becoming quite warm inland for this time of the year. Heading to the top of the South Island, while heavy rain and north to northeast winds continue for another day in these parts, with Nelson, Greymouth and Christchurch all in for a 15-degree day. Travelling to South Canterbury and North Otago. Nor'easterlies and rain make their way down the country, stopping off at all three. Ashburton, a high of 15, Timaru 14 and Oamaru a bit lower with 12 degrees. Westwards now to the Central Lakes and light winds and the risk of rain through here. Wanaka's getting 11 tomorrow, 12 over to the left in Queenstown and a 13-degree day for Alexandra. Heading further south, light winds and high cloud tomorrow. Numbers wise, it's looking quite warm. Expect 17 degrees in Balclutha and Gore, and down in the Catlins it'll get up to 16 degrees. Now down to the deep south. Well, high cloud tonight in Invercargill with a low of 9 degrees. Tomorrow and Friday both look sunny with high clouds on and off and light northerlies. A nice warm day both days as well actually, 15 or 16 degree highs. And lastly, heading to Dunedin. Cloudy with some light and late rain tonight, down to 8. Overcast and cool tomorrow with some rain and nor'easterlies and a high of 11. Into Friday, sunny first up with cloud increasing as the day goes on, and you'll feel some nor'easterlies too with a top temperature of 14 degrees. And that's the news this Wednesday. For the latest news and videos from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand. We'll see you again tomorrow. Ka kite a pōpō.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.